Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today must be Tuesday, and the time must be 5 o'clock because I am here and you are here, and we're starting our Facebook Live right now, right here. I got to tell you, I know you see Miss Chartrese's name right there on the bottom there. She's going to join us in a little bit. She actually got called in to work this evening on a brand new job, and hey, you got to make that money. So when she calls me, we will get her in on the show, and I'm looking forward to it because I know she's got a lot to say. She's still on the front line doing her thing. She's got jobs that put her on the front line, so she's out there, making that money, looking out for some folks. Okay, so when she calls, we will get her into the show. So while we're waiting on her to join us live, I have to do my public service announcements, which I do at the top of every show, every broadcast that I do. First thing I want to do is I want to thank and a shout out to all the healthcare workers that are out there on the front line keeping us alive. These healthcare workers are out there risking their life, fighting the coronavirus because we ain't got it all clear yet on the coronavirus. So I am excited and happy that they are still doing what they're doing because until we get it all clear that we got a cure or we got something that means that we're not going to catch corona anymore, I'm going to keep on wearing my outfit in solidarity to all of the healthcare workers. That's right, I'm retired. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a therapist. But I do have an outfit that I've been wearing since the coronavirus has started, and I'm wearing it in solidarity to all those that are on the healthcare profession that are out there doing their job to try and help keep us alive and keep our loved ones alive. So I definitely encourage each and every one to do the same thing. Support our healthcare workers. I know we have been applauding them. We have been giving them as much love as we possibly can and continue to do so. But for me and my household, we still staying in because we ain't got it all clear yet. And I'm in one of those risk groups. I'm over 50, and I'm old and I got health conditions. So I'm staying in out of everybody's way. So I'm definitely going to do that. Also want to give a shout out to all the pastors that watch out for our health and our well. They had the wisdom to not open up their churches with the possibility of getting people sick. They've been doing Zoom and online church services. So shout out to all of the pastors that are out there. We want to definitely thank you for doing your job and staying on the front line with looking out for folks, and all those that have done that, we applaud you because, hey, it's a lot going on out here, and pastors have been right along with us. Their families have been in danger. So we are definitely encouraging, everybody that is on the front line with the pastors, keep up the good work. Also, we like to offer condolences to all of the families that have lost loved ones. People that have lost loved ones to the coronavirus, that have lost loved ones to many of the unrest that are going on into the world today. We offer our condolences to you and your family, and we hope that you are able to get through this time, and be able to find peace and know that your loved ones are dearly missed, and we offer up condolences. So, we want to keep all of you all in our arms and keep you uplifted. All right, let's see. That's what I do to start the top of the show. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, we have a community activist coming on today in a few minutes with the show, Mr. Reven Fellows, and he has an organization that is on the ground all over the place. Anytime there's anything going on in Springfield, he's a lobbyist. He works very closely with some of the legislators, the Black Caucus, and he's a very outspoken activist, and I'm definitely looking forward to having him on the show today because I'm excited about, Reven has been on the show many times, but I'm always excited when he comes on because Reven will not hold his tongue. Okay, Reven gonna tell you, what's on his mind, what's going on. He definitely will make sure that you know what's going on out here on the streets of Chicago and in Oklahoma and every place else he didn't been to, because he's also been a part of trying to rebuild Black Wall Street. He's any kind of campaign in the city of Chicago, Reven has been very much a part of it. So and he's going to be joining us in a very few minutes. We're going to give him as much time as we possibly can to talk about some of the things that might be on his mind and on his heart. I know that, and I'm going to save some of this for when we get Reven on the line to talk about, but I know, unless you've been under a rock for the last 15 days, it's a lot of civil unrest going on throughout the country and around the world. And I tell you, you don't want to miss this show. We're going to talk about a lot of those things, including Black Lives Matter. I think that we have some interesting times ahead of us. I don't know how many of you got a chance to watch the ceremonies over the last couple of days for George Floyd, his family, paying tribute to his life. Those that knew him had some very powerful words to say, and I've actually got a chance to enjoy some of those things myself. And when I say enjoy, I mean there was a celebration. I enjoyed the celebration of the life that came here, and I believe that that was a beautiful thing, that some of the things that he talked about, in the celebration of his life, and there are many peoples that participated in the celebration of his life, and I think that there's going to be many more things to talk about in the future, because it's not over. The movement is not dead. It's definitely still alive, and there's going to be a whole lot more to talk about, going forward. I want to give myself an opportunity to listen to more about what Reven has to say. So let me do this now, since my co-host has not showed up as of yet. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to go over to my commercial right now. I have a commercial that I do talking about ask-dr-ron.com. We're going to go over there and get a chance to talk about all of my sponsors that are on my website that support what we do here. I want to tell you the first thing you're going to hear is going to be my theme song. So we're going to play the theme song, and then we're going to talk to you what's going on after that. So stand by. Here we go.
Ask Dr. Ron. Whatever you're feeling, he will give you healing, he'll inform you. Ask Dr. Ron, ask Dr. Ron. Entertaining news, political issues, local and globally.
All right, go over to ask-dr-ron.com and you will run across my website. On my website, you will find advertisers as well as a lot of information about some of the things about me and some of the people and some of the places that I've been, some of my exploits in entertainment. But one of the things I want you to pay close attention to are the advertisers. I have many people that support what I do here on the Ask Dr. Ron website and the Ask Dr. Ron show, and we like to acknowledge them. We want you to go over to National Block Club University. Mr. Cyron Smith has an organization that is designed to help us on the front line with what's going on around the world and around the country. And Cyron has been block by block organizing to help make safe environments for our children, for our seniors, and for us to be able to live in block by block. That's National Block Club University. The founder, Mr. Cyron Smith. If you click on the link here, it'll take you right over to his website, and you'll be able to get in contact with him and ask him what you can do to help make your community safer than what it is right now. He has people all over the country that work to help make a better place for each and every one of us. Also, you will find Mr. Chief Nomo's Oasis. Chief Nomo has been bringing in for many years products from the west coast of Africa, Ghana. He also specializes in oils and moringa seeds, alkaline waters. He brings all these products in to help promote healing and health in our community. He's on the south side of Chicago. I know many times people say, well, we don't know of any black businesses to support. Chief Nomo is a minority business, a black business. You can support him and probably even get in good health. So you definitely want to check him out. If you live in Chicago and you're interested in where to get some alkaline water or moringa seeds, click on the banner. It'll take you over to his website. Give him a call. Talk to him about trying to get in good health. Okay? All right. The next person, RRJ Webb. RRJ Webb helps design, host, and build websites. Mr. Ralph Jenkins has been with me for over 15, 20 years. He has been working with me and all of the people that have gone to him to help build websites. He hosts them. He does maintenance on them. Mr. Jenkins has been doing this for a very long time, and he's very good at what he does. So if you have a product, a goods, or a service that you need to be able to get out of your head and get onto the World Wide Web, Mr. Jenkins can work with you to help make those things happen. So reach out to Mr. Jenkins, click on the banner here. It'll take you right over to his website, and you'll be able to talk to him and find out what you can do in order to get your website up and going. He has a program for everybody. So that's RRJ Web Solutions. Give him a call, click on the banner, make an appointment, talk to him. He will be more than happy to help you get your product program up and going. Okay? So, and last but not least, one of my favorite sponsors, Port Again Sam. Port Again Sam has been with me for over 15 years as well. And Sam brings in some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. They're exclusive. You can't get them anyplace else except with Sam. Sam brings it in, and when they're gone, they're gone. But he has some of the best. I kid you not. I didn't know anything about wine until I started messing around with Sam. Now I'm a collector. Now I know what I like, how I like it. He got sweet, he's got dry, he's got cognac. I'm telling you, give Sam a call. Click on the banner, go over to Sam's website, and he will be more than happy to set up a wine tasting for you so you can find out what your favorite wine and what your favorite cognac. Oh my God, when I say the word cognac, you will be surprised how good the cognac is. So give Port Again Sam a call. Click on the banner. It'll take you right over to his website, and you'll be able to find out what your next love experience will be. Because I tell you, that wine will make you fall in love. I kid you not. So all these things you'll find over at my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you go over there, fill out the contact card. Let us know that you're interested in being on our e-blast list. Also, while you're over there, you want to take a look at some of the other pages we have. We have a cash crowdfund, which is a program to help people keep circulating money. So in this time when it's economically challenging, you need to find out where your check is going to come from, where your money going to come from. Cash crowdfund can keep you with money coming into your household, so you can pay your bills. All right, I'm gonna give a couple of shout outs before we go to our guest today. I want to give a shout out to Lawndale Lancaster. He's on the line. Miss Angelique Johnson is listening. We got my brother in broadcasting, Mr. Chris Bass. Please put your information up there. He has a Facebook Live as well. Good afternoon to you. Pedro is on the line. Shout out to him. Miss Jeanette is on the line. Miss Megan, I'm still waiting on you to call me. You were supposed to call me. Glad that you're here, checking us out today. Miss Megan is first time visitor, so we're definitely glad that she's over here shouting out with us today. All right, so now it's time for us to go over to get our guest for today. Now, I know you heard me talking about him at the top of the show, Mr. Reuben Fellows. Boots on the ground. This brother's all over the place, an activist, a community activist. And I tell you, I'm glad that I was able to steal some of his time today because this brother stay busy. I tell you, he ain't available no time. But I was able to snatch him up. He's been a friend to the show, and I'm just glad that he was able to stop in and be with us again on today. Mr. Reuben Fellows, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dr. Ron, how you doing today?
Man, doing good, brother. Doing good, man. Man, what's going on out there, man? You in the city of Chicago, you on the west side, you on the south side, you all over the place, man. What's going on, bro? I mean, I know you know.
People tired, man. If you got your cell phone available to the side, I sent you two texts that tell you exactly what's going on. Martin Luther King and what the African ancestors said about this time. So if you can pull that up while I have a stage of what's going on, then you'll see. If you pull it in your phone, I just texted to you a few minutes ago. It's two of them.
I see them.
Talking about the truth. And then they talked about what Martin Luther King said. And so is this not to justify what's going on? I call it rebellion / riot / hijack. But our children are tired. And I'll just put it this way. We had Trayvon Martin, Chicago supported protest, nonviolent. We had Laquan McDonald, Chicago protest, one of the biggest in the country. No violence and no unrest. We had Rekia Boyd that was killed by an off-duty officer. She was killed and let go. The guy walked away. And you had Tamir Rice, the young man that was killed. Chicago supported that here. And then you had Sandra Bland, Chicago protest. So every protest across the country, Mike Brown, and I can't breathe, all those, Chicago has been real peaceful. Our people, young people have been peaceful. They may have a little rowdy, but they've not tore up anything and burn anything down. And I think if you add 150 schools closed, you tear down CHA housing projects, and you do gentrification, and you create and lock up some of the street organization heads and leave these young people out here, and then you don't have a lot of fathers in the single family homes and not a lot of black male teachers. I think what you see is our young people are tired of our black pastors, our black politicians, and our black leaders, and those of us who are parents, we have not protected them. So what you see is I'd say a rebellion of young people saying, they watched their grandparents work all their life, and now they don't own nothing really, or they don't control nothing. They watch 6,000 teachers get fired, African American teachers, mostly women. And so the children may not know the concept of science, but they see that this is not going right. And what you see is what you have is a rebellion from our young people. It's not to justify, but Martin Luther King says, and that if you can read that excerpt, it'll make it make sense.
Okay, yeah, I see the excerpt. Let me take a look at it. I mean, you gave me something that's like so small that I probably would need a magnifying glass to see it.
Happiness to blow up. I do know
Yeah,
if you tap it, it'll blow up.
yeah. I got you. I got you. So you want me to read this?
If you can, well, what happens, I think everybody got an opinion, everybody got their views, but I think hearing from Martin Luther King, a nonviolent for social change, and hearing what our African ancestors say about the children in the village, I think that sets the tone that it's not about me and you, it's about the conversation.
All right, I'm gonna read it. Since Reven emphasized this so eloquently, I'm gonna go ahead on and read what he sent to me. It's a quote from Martin Luther King, and it says, "But it's not enough for me to stand before you tonight and condemn riots. It would be morally irresponsible for me to do that without at the same time condemning the cognizant, intolerable conditions that exist in our society. These conditions are the things that cause individuals to feel that they have no other alternative than to engage in violent rebellions to get attention. And I must say tonight that a riot is the language of the unheard." Excerpt from The Other America, March 14th, 1968. So, um, so you saying riots was inevitable?
But Martin Luther King said that, I didn't. That's why I said I don't want to make it about me and you. But
No.
the main thing is Martin Luther King sets the stage for the African proverb. Can you read that part of what our children are?
Okay. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. An African proverb. Okay. So
So
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I just want to say that again. I wanted to make it about historical, not me and your personal opinion. And people saying we trying to incite some. That is from Martin Luther King, the man that lost his life being peaceful. And then that's from our young people. If you can see, I explained to you, we have an 8-year black president, and you have close to 150 schools, and you take the TIF money, and then you lose Salt Sheen, you lose 4 or 5 black banks, and our children don't see business and prosperity. I mean, we have over 89 black elected officials in Chicago, and then we have so we have a responsibility to our children, and when your children don't feel like they're safe and protected, they'll act up like children do.
So I know you say you're not trying to make it about me and you, but we're the ones with the voices of the community for today. And I know that you have been a voice for the people that you come in contact with on a regular basis, as well as myself. One of the things that you and I do is try to encourage and motivate people to do the right things on more than one occasion. Now, I know that you've been out there on the street, and I've been out there on the street. I can't remember who's older, me or you, but it feels like as much as we have tried to reach out and help people, it has just been an impossible task, to be able to work with some of these people that have not paid us any attention. I mean, like, we've paid a lot of dues. I know I have in my lifetime. I've paid a lot of dues, brother, and I'm still paying dues. It ain't over yet, because I'm still here. I haven't lost my ability to be able to talk to people and try and tell them, like, look, you ain't got to do it this way, do it that way, and try and give them the wisdom of the ages, because sometimes when we go out there and start doing things, man, people gonna turn what we're doing into something, an excuse or another reason to do us more harm. And I don't want to see the younger generation get brutalized and beat up. I mean, we've already had that. In the 60s, they were brutalized. In the 50s, they were brutalized and beat up. Water hoses, dogs. I told them on last week, that the high school I went to, now I know you went to Simeon, you went to high school in the city of Chicago, but the high school I went to in Harvey, at Thornton Township, we had race riots every year that went all the way back to the 50s, okay? Because I can tell you students that were high school students at Thornton in the 50s that they had race riots every year, okay? And all 4 years of my years at Thornton, and I graduated in the '70s. We still had race riots. Now they probably don't have them now because the majority of the school is black. They probably got a different problem, black on black crime. But the problems that we had back in the '70s was still every year we had to fight. Every year we had a reason to fight, and we kept on fighting. And we didn't win the fight. We might have done some damage, but we still didn't win the fight because at the end of the day, 2020 is here. We still talking about the same things. So man, we got to be able to use our gray hair for more than just decorations. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you said it. You said that 20 years later, same thing. We told our children to be patient, pay their dues, take their time, and they watch other people get wealth while they take it or get our wealth through different resources. And so what actually happens is Maurice Cox, that came to Chicago from Detroit, who's working with the economic development on the Southwest project for the South and West Side Economic Development initiative that the mayor has in place, said that Chicago has been neglected for 50 years. So we had 15 years of neglect, and we've had our leaders here, national leaders here in churches and so forth, and our children don't see any prosperity, that we don't own anything. I just think at some point the children will say, well, I don't understand it, but it doesn't make sense. So I think between watching NBA and watching the rapper industry, they see that people are moving in a certain area and they receive them and not them. So I just wanted to lay what you said about 20 years later.
Yeah, man, it's just, hey, let me throw something out there. Um, America, in comparison to South Africa, I know that South Africa underwent a change because their history paralleled American history with racism and oppression on people of color for a very long time. That change did not come about until they had a president that was smart enough to let Nelson Mandela out of prison and begin to usher in a change. That president was also smart enough to allow an election process that allowed Nelson Mandela to become the president of the country, knowing that, hey, the oppressors were white in that country, and they knew there was going to be a change. America now, we got a president that ain't trying to execute a change. It ain't trying to open up an opportunity for, reparation, no justice, anything else. He just wants to try and keep the status quo the way that it has been and the way it's going to be. So he is not the one to be able to open up the opportunity for us as people of color to be able to have a change. So I brought up South Africa because, South Africa was able to overcome and bring about a change. Is it 100% better? I ain't been to South Africa. I don't know. But I know that they, under the president of Nelson Mandela, was able to have an opportunity that they never had before. So how would you compare what we're going through right now to what South Africa was able to overcome? And but keep your face in the middle. Yeah, because I saw the side of your face. I don't want a mug shot. I want to get your whole face. There you go. There you go. Right there. There you go. We got you now.
Okay. Sorry. So put it in context. First, let me give a bit of history on Mandela. Mandela could have walked out of jail. First of all, he's a lawyer by trade. He spent 26 years in prison, or 26, 27 years. And then he's a lawyer by trade. And so they offered Mandela, they said, Mandela, if you want to get out, you have to renounce violence. And Mandela said, I'll renounce violence if you renounce violence. So he stayed in jail for 26 years as a lawyer by trade. That stands, and there was a small group of people in Africa, whites, European, whatever you want to call them. They ran the whole country with a bunch of African Mandinka brothers and the people there, and they literally control a small portion of whites control South Africa, which doesn't make sense. And Chicago is similar. That if you see all the economic development and all the development on the north side, different areas are not in blighted west side, south side communities. So, and then there's a small group of people controlling the wealth downtown in terms of wealth. But we have apartheid here where we don't get black contracts or we don't get our tip money, so they're all the same. But the difference here is in Chicago is we have leadership that for some reason don't speak out, and it makes it difficult. But I wanted to show the difference between they and then this difference. In Chicago, we forgot who we are, our culture. We'll be doing Juneteenth, but we're not doing Sankofa. We're not doing all that. We're not practicing our culture and our history. Black history is not even being taught in the schools. So we don't have a sense of pride. Africa has still had pride, no matter what was going on. And they rebelled at some point, and Mandela showed the model. And right now, they're uprising in South Africa right now. So I think somehow our spirituality here and our culture, not keeping that at front, left us feeling comfortable after we got nice cars, nice houses, and was able to go on the other side of Western and go out to the malls. So I would say that's the difference between apartheid here. But at the end of the day, we segregated the west side of Chicago, and the south side is the largest concentration of black people in the United States resides on the south and west side of Chicago. And we don't have resources that belong there. So that's what I would just share in terms of the difference.
So, so you think that the folks over here in Chicago have gotten complacent, comfortable, and rested on their little bit of wealth that they were able to accomplish? That's pretty much what you think?
Well, the Civil Rights Bill in 1964, Martin Luther King got that affirmative action. And then in Chicago, Harold Washington, rest his soul, Harold Washington's story, he was able to empower a lot of black millionaires. We had the most black millionaires probably anywhere in Illinois. And we had Bronzeville, the Great Migration. We had Chatham. I grew up in Chatham, one of the richest, wealthiest black communities right now, and still. Where I walked around Dempsey Travis, Freeway Bank, Cameron Nates, the Star Rock Bowling Alley, Independent Bank, bread basket on 87th Street and Chatham Groceries, Leaks Funeral Home. Everywhere you went, Taylor Cleans, everywhere you went in Chatham was a millionaire. Leon's Barbecue, Nation Islam, Salon Restaurant, everywhere you could see Muhammad Ali. And now we don't really own and control anything over there. So I think that people, once they got around, we had South City, John H. Johnson. I think we got comfortable and forgot that we're supposed to put a future for the children. And now we stand to be the only race of people that leave their children in debt. Other races are prepared. So we wrestling and dressing. I have this big saying that I always say, I think you heard before. People with air conditioning don't care about people with fans.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. I'm gonna give a shout out to a couple of people that's watching on the show today. Miss Shirley Saucer is watching. Chris Bay says, "Reeving felons, boots on the ground, and he ain't lying." You know, Londell Lancaster, marching and protests are movements, not a change agent. Z is watching. Londell said, "Truth and honest." Mark Allen, our brother's watching. Another broadcaster, Londell said, "Jaded in rose-colored glasses." Lisa London, another radio personality. Glad to see you there. How you doing, Miss Lisa? Mark Allen said, "God bless from National Black Wall Street, Chicago." There was never been a bloodless revolution. Londell said that. Londell said he wants to be a monarch. Enoch is watching. Lisa Kramer, Johnny Page, is watching. So we got quite a few people on the line that's tuned in with us today that are paying attention. Thank you for being there. If you got comments or something you want to see Mr. Reverend Fellows expound on while we got him, because no telling when he gonna run off, because he be here 1 minute and gone the next. Um, you know,
Hey, Dr. Ron.
yes, sir.
So I want whoever that the brother that said marching. They said something about marching not being. I don't know, is it effective or whatever the case may be. What was that statement, Lancaster?
Yeah.
He made a statement about marching. Well, I think what people don't understand, the marching. When I found out when Rekia Boyd was killed, and we marched through Lawndale at the spare of the moment and with no permit. What I found out, I used to believe that too. It didn't make a difference. But what I found out, the marches when they marched down the street down Holman, people that didn't know she had gotten killed or didn't know what was going on, they came out of their houses and joined the march.
Mm-hmm.
So people that might be on Facebook, Twitter, not even know what's going on, watching the news, newspaper, it brought attention to see all the many people. What's going on, man? Ooh, well, where are we going? So we started with about 50 and it ended up about 500 people, and that's because the marching is to bring attention to the issue. Then to bring attention to economics, because usually if you march, in some cases, you do it right, you shut down different things, and then you deal with the policymakers, which elect officials. So Martin Luther King, the marches was to bring national attention, to bring media in from other places, because usually you're isolated with your own media, and if it don't go on Facebook, it changes the game. So I think there's a place for the marches to create the energy and then what's going on, man? Who did what? Somebody got shot. That brings the numbers out. And then the next thing is the boycott. The boycott is the businesses that are not ours and boycotting the economic boycott of our own people and the black on black economic bring attention. And then we move the people sit down and have policy decisions with the elected officials. So I think there's a place for it. I don't think it's the wherewithal, but Martin Luther King and the marches were to bring attention to the issue that people might not know what's going on.
Yeah, and you're right. There is a playbook, so to speak, on what has been proven to be successful with accomplishing change or bringing about change. And just reflecting back on time, since you brought up Martin Luther King earlier, they did not take Martin Luther King seriously until he did his march on Washington. And when the powers to be realized that he had control over so many people, they were able to equate that into so many votes. Like, this man controls enough votes to be able to sway an election in any direction that he want to sway it in. So they had to start to begin to look at what he had control of and what he had influence over, and start consider that as a change agent, and say, well, what we got to do to make him satisfied, what we got to do to pay some attention to what he's bringing to our attention, and with the necessary people that were present, they tried to downplay it at first, like, oh, it wasn't that many people, but you can't deny the numbers. And they did the same thing when they had the March on Washington. When Farrakhan, I don't want to say he was the only one there, but it was many of the people from all over the country, the men that showed up in Washington, D.C. on that march. But what happened with that one, there was no follow-up. Go ahead, bro. I see you twisting there. Go ahead, get at it.
No. I was at the march, they say it was less than a million men or more, but it was literally looked like a sea of 2 million black men standing there, peaceful. It was needed. They say wasn't no follow up, but one of the things about the follow up is what the minister said then was, go back to your respectful mosque, go back to your church, go back to your Masonic clubs and get busy. And I think he said, don't make the march about me, it's these brothers out here. And I think we could have, a follow-up would be nice, but we could have went back. What you got to remember too, the largest voters registration ever in history of black men was at that time. we outnumbered everybody that year. Then the longest gang troop street, or what they want to call it, across the city piece. And then black men came back and adopted their boys and went back to their sons and daughters and got back, and a lot of black men came back and got married. So they missed the part of the impact. It was up to the Alpha, the Sigmas, and the Masonic brothers and the Mason brothers and all the fraternity for us to go back and reassess our leadership and make a move, the pastors and everybody. So I don't think the onus was all on them to continue, which I think they should have, but it's very difficult to work with them, and then you got to, resources come from other places. So there was an underplay to that, but at the end of the day, the marches that we had, and remember, this is what people forget. Martin Luther King did not organize the march on Washington. Asa Philip Randolph, the leader of the Pullman Porters, it was a labor march, and that march was to organize around economics. It got spent till I had a dream, and the first three lines of the speech talked about a check that came back insufficient funds. So I think that started the propaganda. Everybody's trying to dream and a nightmare. So a lot of things are misinformation. And then even with Reverend Bevel, our young people argue about Reverend James Bevel, who was the science of nonviolence. People thought just go lay down and get beat up. There was a strategy with that it wasn't about being cowards. There was a strategy to bring attention nationally how we were being mistreated. And then at the end of the day, it was a science. So you got to have that historical understanding, the context. Our children don't think the people were just cowards getting beat up. There was a science behind that. And then the March on Washington was about money. And our young people think they should get paid. And so I think we should talk about the check that came back as sufficient fund. And we're talking about the dream.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that is the 1-2 punch, because I just see Londale Lancaster said the same thing. But not a change agent. Got to get in the pockets now. You have a change agent dollars. So that's the next punch that need to be thrown out there. And as I have seen on social media, they have declared a blackout of spending coming up in July, that they have been talking about, that's going to be something that on this date that they're going to be pushing back and not spending no money on those days. So the boycotts are not next on the agenda, being able to start to be able to overturn some of this injustice that's going on.
Let me say this, Brian. Let me say this right quick. We talked about the Million Man March, and then it went to the Million Youth March, Million Woman March, Million Family March. They married a lot of people there. And this is not about endorsing Minister Farrakhan. He said there was an ideology that they did, and it was more than just him with the march. Now, Brother Bell was there and other guy. But my point to be made is that is the only holiday that Black people took. October 16th is on record in Chicago as a holiday recognized, that every year we're supposed to not go to work, not go to school, and not go and patronize any other business. And that's been on the book with a holiday that we took that said to recognize that the Million Man March anniversary. So every anniversary should be a blackout, and we should have been practicing. Now it's a blackout in November. It's a blackout in October. It's a blackout coming up in June. So we recreate history on blackout, and so we distort history by not practicing from the beginning and creating new dates. I'm not saying they're not needed, but we wasn't even practicing the one that we took. There's a resolution right now at City Hall that recognizes October. Mama D, who's a Montessori and one of our elders, he wrote the proclamation down there. So every October, just like when they have the Irish and just other schools, other cultures, they either take a day off and recognize it. We're supposed to recognize that we're not. So again, the march was not just for the nation; it was for brothers to come together for atonement reconciliation. And we should have moved on that and keep that holiday, and then we keep practicing what's going on.
I totally agree. Now, speaking of holidays, I know you mentioned it a little while ago. We got Juneteenth coming up in about a week or so, and you mentioned it in one of your comments earlier. I'm not very sure if a lot of people even know what Juneteenth is, because it's not heavily celebrated in the northern states as it was in Texas. And I used to go to celebrations of Juneteenth celebrations in Houston and other cities in Texas that were doing parades and things of that nature. I think it's a somewhere that someone is trying to get a national holiday put in place for the Juneteenth celebration, but it evolves around the emancipation and freedom of slaves that were held in slavery longer than the Emancipation Proclamation once they were declared free. So on June 19th, that's when the slaves, finally became aware of that we're supposed to be not in slavery anymore. I don't want to use the word free because we still ain't free, but we were not supposed to be in slavery anymore. And once they came into the knowledge of that, that became a opportunity for them to be able to walk off whatever plantations that they were on without, I ain't gonna say without getting lynched because we still getting lynched. So when you go fast forward from then till now, some of the same things they just using different methods to enslave us and to lynch us. Which I know I talked to you earlier about the federal government not putting in place a or signing off on a no lynch. Lynching is illegal, and I know your comment. I know you're gonna go there, but you know, but I'll open up a whole lot of stuff right there, so you can go ahead on have with it, brother. Juneteenth, June
Uh-huh.
19th. Go ahead, brother.
Well, the history of it is right. They didn't know until later. We didn't have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so they got it late. But the deal is not funny. There's our enslaved people. We weren't slaves, we were enslaved captive to put in slavery. So we enslaved people. But but what I found out, the original, this is my history that I read. Do you know when the really first Juneteenth is?
Break it
It's
off.
actually January. Oh, okay, what, can you hear me now?
Go ahead. I said break it off for me. Yeah.
Juneteenth, the really concept is January 1st, New Year's. Most people celebrate New Year's with guns and shoot and buy crackers, and they go to church and say, I'm gonna be a little skinnier next year. I'm gonna make a resolution. I'm gonna pay my bills on time. I'm not gonna get it. We do all that, and for the New Year, and then people go to church. What do you call it? Watch night, watch hour. But it was actually they were working January 1st to see was it going to come back. The enslaved people would be free. That's what the watch night is about. From the day before, going into the next day, January 1st, to see when they can be free. Then you move to June 19th, which is another time they didn't find out till later that they were free. So I want to give a sense of history. But then going back to the lynching, um, and I applaud, and I wish we could get some more sisters on board with it. The number one advocate against black men being lynched annually was Ida B. Wells. And then her legacy with the newspaper and traveling the country, being a voice against black men being lynched. So we have that history, and then they just put her name on a highway. I'm trying to figure out how I can commend her grandchildren for giving the legacy, but we end up getting a highway downtown named after her, but really don't have black contractors getting contracts. So why did her name recognized to keep black men from getting lynched? Black men wasn't even on the contracting level to build the thing that she represented on black men not being lynched. Then we have a history of you saying we had an 8-year president. I think he could address the lynching. So I don't want to get distracted on lynching all our young people in jail, but now we want to ask a guy that everybody says is the most racist president in the world that he should now stop lynching or do the bill for stop lynching. I think that's that we should act, but I think we've had a ball just looking for things when it should have been done. When Obama was there, we should have protested to get it done. And then when Ida B. Wells just got a name out there, we should have made it highlight of black men in Illinois across the country being lynched So now we have this going on at the same time, a presidential election. But I do say this, and I'm not endorsing Trump. I don't support Trump. But I do know that Trump signed a bill a year ago. You can look it up. And it says that America was guilty of slavery. And so, whether he raises it or not, I think him signing that bill, we should piggyback on into reparations. If that's what he said, let's do reparations. Let's do the lynching bill all in one. So I also know the opportunity zone is funny. And again, this is I'm just talking. See, people get caught up in emotions on who the person is, personality. I'm caught up on the policy. So the policy is he signed a bill for that. And them young girls, Desiree, I think Desiree Johnson, she was being trafficking in Chicago. When Trump brought her to the White House, and so man, I want to get on that Trump, but I'm saying that we had ample time to change history. And so to go over lynching, and we right now have COVID-19, which most of the black communities have COVID-19, we might be going over somewhere where we should be staying, trying to make sure everybody out there with their masks off right now. I don't know.
Yeah, because COVID-19 ain't over with yet. It's still a lot of people out there that over 2 million people in the United States that have confirmed that they have COVID-19. So I'm staying out of everybody's way. I'm not going nowhere near nobody.
In Chicago by zip codes, and I want to give again. This is not an endorsement of Trump. I want to talk about politics. You say, brother, I'm on the ground. I go to Springfield periodically. I found out that policy is not about personality. If somebody white passed a bill, if the abolitionist bill, you support it. If somebody black passed a bill, you support it. When they do it, but they act like you're mad at them and something happens. So this is what people can Google and take a look up. So there's an emergency relief fund for COVID-19 and predominantly that were hit with COVID-19. And if you look at the numbers, Block Club University, Ron Smith, which is a great organization, they did the numbers of the blacks, most black communities, COVID virus is high. And then the city of Chicago did their Department of Health and found out most black communities have the COVID-19. So my understanding, you guys can check it, I'm not sure, but I heard from my good friend called the tax doctor, brother Anthony Travis, who was on the committee with Mary Flowers and us in the task force to look at property tax relief from a race perspective. And he just said that Trump just sent a property tax reassessment for those communities hit hardest by COVID. So I don't know if he get a black bill or not, but I do know in Chicago, all the zip codes that are hit with black. And so if you have property and when you do the property tax reassessment, you might want to look at snatch that tax dollar up out that brother why you COVID-19. So those are some of the things I'm just trying to give context that you might be looking at one thing.
I got you. Um, so look, we got a long way to go in the struggle. I mean, and it is a struggle. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
you
Long
know,
way.
and knowledge is power. And I thank you for coming on, being a part of bringing knowledge to the show. You and I go back since I started this thing, almost 15, 16, whatever, how long, many years ago, and we still have an opportunity to come together and be able to put some good, positive information out there, as well as some facts that can't be denied. And one thing I will say about Reven, many of y'all young folks may not understand this when I say it. Reven took a page out of the spook who sat by the door. If there's something going on in the room, he's sitting in there getting that information and bringing it back to the folks who can use it and take advantage of it, which is a good policy to have. We always gonna need somebody in the room that can correct the myth. He got the facts, and I love it, and I love my brother. He's part of the organization, many organizations, but National Black Agenda Consortium. That's a mouthful. .org. If you want to get in touch with Reven, that is a place where you can send him your email. Contact information is there, and I ain't gonna say he gonna get back to you, but he at least know you tried to reach him. By going to the website, and he has so many hats that he wears. He's very close to State Representative LaShawn Ford, who is a member of the Illinois Black Caucus, trying to execute change, not just in Illinois, but all across the country, to the point where he's put himself in harm's way on more than one occasion, I'm sure, so, and I know Reven got him on speed dial. He can call him up and say, hey, what's what? Go ahead, bro.
Let me share this before we go. I want to say that um, I remember Brother David was on the show with A. Philip Randolph, the young brother David
Right,
Peterson.
right,
And so he said something profound to me and you that day, and I think it was powerful. We're a resilient people. Um, it's a small percentage doing a lot of killing. We have a lot of young people doing real positive things, conscious, and we have some good police officers. Unfortunately, those who can't speak up because it's a code of silence. And if you're a police officer, people, I'm gonna give a little knowledge. If you're a police officer and you're black and you start to stand on that ground, backup comes a little late sometimes. If you're a black fireman and you stand on that black ground, if you're in that background and you watch the movie, that water hose might not come to save you, might have some in your locker. So I think we have to really be conscious of that, understand that they may be in harm's way and we don't have anything to protect them. But one thing David said that was deep, that our people are going to come out of this real strong. Investment. I've been seeing, Dr. Ron, there's a lot of people are looking at trade and getting looking at business into this they're creating. So there may be some strength come out of this after all from this regroup.
I agree. I agree because one thing about us, from the 50s till now, there's always a higher evolutionary process that have taken place. I've seen a lot in my lifetime, and I'm sure you have too. We ain't where we started from, but we ain't got to where we're going yet. I mean, there's still more to go. And I thank you and I appreciate you. Like I said earlier, this gray hair represents a lot. As far as what we've been through, and it can be a benefit because you ain't got to recreate the struggle. You don't have to keep struggling the same way. You take it to the next level and then you keep knocking stuff down on each level you get to. Like the church world will say, it's a devil for every level. They say it quite often. So we done knocked down some devils because we've accomplished some things. So now we just fighting the devil on this level where we at. And we can,
And
go ahead.
I want the people to understand that you can't hold the children accountable if we're not going to hold the leadership in the churches and ourselves accountable. It's unfair practice to ask them to step up to the plate. We haven't left them. If we can't even hire our own children. We get them trained and say you got to go to a Latino job or a different. We can't hire our own children. Yes, the young people that don't want to work, but then there's a lot of young people that want not to work, and we can't even hire. So that's still being more common. Our young people are out there. They're tired. They're frustrated. They're broken homes, and so we have to bounce back with this love thing. And I don't think we could get away with beating up all elected officials. I think because they're human, if you start talking about we in crises and they ain't doing nothing, human nature say, hell, if I ain't doing nothing, why you want me to do something? So I think we got to have privacy. I think you can't beat the police up and then 90% of women in the community is single and men are not there protected in most cases. And then we say the police is the enemy and they can't call black men to protect them. So we're in a catch-22. Let's be smart and work and be strategic in how we address the baby with the bathwater. Can't throw them both out at the same time.
I got you, brother. Once again, National Black Agenda Consortium.org. Mr. Reuben Fellows took time out of his busy schedule to be with us today. And we love you, Reuben, man. We appreciate it. We thank you, man. I know that, you probably leaving from here to go get on another Zoom call. I know how you operate. You be all over the place at one time. at the same time sometimes. So that's a beautiful thing. I want to encourage everybody to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com, askdrron.com. Go over there, leave us your information. Check out some of the information that's over there, cash crowdfund, figure out how to, share some money with one another, and we can pay our own bills with our own money over and over and over again. Also, I'm gonna need you guys to come back on next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're gonna be right here. We got Miss Jennifer B is gonna be my guest next week, and we're gonna be trying to motivate y'all in a positive way. So I know you know Jennifer B, don't you, Reuben?
I'm trying to place it.
Jennifer Bridgeforth. She got the art gallery down there in High Park.
Oh man, I lost it, Doc.
That's okay. No problem, man. All right, man. Look, you be safe. You be safe out there, brother.
I appreciate you, man. I'm trying to get a sandwich to get in.
All right. All right. So you all definitely come back and check me out on next week. We will definitely be doing our thing again. I will be in touch with you all. Stay blessed. Be safe. Corona ain't over with, y'all. Y'all be safe out there. Okay? Don't let Corona get you. So you all be safe. Until next week, peace and love.